So here is the basic design which I printed off the website, which you can see. This particular size is to make 5 by 7 cards, or 7 by 5 if you prefer. The design does come in 3 sizes. I find the one for A6 cards quite fiddly. The one for A5 size cards takes up the whole sheet, and you need a borderless printer or a printer which can handle A3 size paper, neither of which I have, so my design will be cut off if I try printing that one. So I'm sticking to the 5 by 7, still a little bit fiddly, but hopefully within my capabilities. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is cut right around the edge of the design. Now you can see I'm just using a plain one. I will make a plain one available on the site, but mostly I assume you'll be making the pre-printed patterns. If you use the plain one, you can fold it completely the other way so all the black lines disappear. If you're using a pre-printed one, you'll have to make choices each time about which black lines you want to appear and which you don't. So when I'm cutting around the edge, I can choose to just cut these black lines off, and then when I fold here, I can fold so that black line goes down, so actually on the top there'll be no black lines. So put a little bit of thought into it first. But I say, first thing I'm going to do is cut right around the edge of the design, and obviously I'm going to do this by using a nice ruler and a sharp craft knife. As I said, I want the black lines to disappear, so I'm just going to cut this side of the black line, so that particular line will disappear from my design. There we go. I'll do those two while I'm up here. And I'm going to carry on and do the whole of the outside of the design. Won't make you wait for that. Causing good old blue sheet of fashion once more. Here's one I did earlier. Okay, so I've cut right the way around the outside of the design. Now there's only 6 more cuts we need to make. First of all, I'm going to do the little bit on each of these tabs. Here's a diagram, just these little bits here. I'm going to cut on all 4 of those little tabs. So just on the black line for these. Just that little bit at the end. Same with, well, actually, I prefer to do it that way round, you get a better gauge of where the cut's starting from. It will become obvious, there you are, I've forgotten which ones I've done. It will become obvious which ones, well, what these are for, as the folding progresses. Nope. Again, I'll do it that way around so I can see where I'm starting with the knife. That's those 4 cuts made. 2 more cuts, and that's these lines at either end. Again, you can see better on the diagram. These lines I'm going to cut. There's another line where you have to work out which side of the black line you want to cut. Now, I'm going to cut so the black line won't appear on the top. Right, that's all that done, and now I've got a final piece to do, which is I want to cut out this middle piece. Again, more obvious on the diagram here. So I'm going to cut out this centre piece. Now I'm going to do that by cutting along here. Doesn't matter so much about the black line this time, because this black line won't be seen whatever you do. So I'm just going to cut first of all from end to end. Same on the other side. Not to go over. Better to go under rather than over. You can always do this. Don't go quite far enough. Right, that's the majority of it. Now I know these are nice curves here, but it really doesn't matter if you do it straight. So I'm just going to lop off the corners there. Same this side. Just lop off that corner. Obviously this is going to be a gluing tab. To make it easier, we take those corners off. Same with the other side. Nicely, it doesn't have to be accurate. Doesn't even have to be the same, exactly the same on each corner. There we go, so our corners are lopped off. Right, so that's basically all the cutting involved in this bit. From now on, we're going to want to fold each one of these lines. All the black lines which are left need to be folded. So what I'm going to do is score each one of them. Again, where I score, particularly on these two lines and these two lines, will decide whether I get black lines on the top or not. So that black line I'm going to score just this side of it. On here, so that when it gets folded it's on the edge and not on the top. That way I won't have a black line on the top. If you choose to have black lines on the top, it's going to look okay. Well, it's going to look fine because it's going to look like part of the design, but just for this example I'm choosing not to. So I scored all these lines and I'm going to do that again with my metal ruler, and this time I'm going to use probably scissors. I have experimented with various items. You want it deep enough to fold, but not too deep. You don't want to either sort of rough it up or too deep so it actually goes through. So I've experimented with scissors, I've used the back of another knife that was actually too sharp, a blunt kitchen knife, various things. But I think for now I'm going to use scissors and just score like that across. And I'm actually, rather than stopping and doing one and folding it and stopping and doing another one and folding it, I'm actually going to do them all. Right, I won't make you hang around for this. So I will carry on and score all these lines, and I'll come back. We'll just show you this one because this is the one where I want to make sure the line goes on the side and not on the top. Okay, I'll carry on and do those and then we'll come back to it. Right, now I've scored all the edges. I'm going to want to fold them away from me, down in other words, so the square you're making up goes underneath. Obviously, if you're doing a blank template, which you are going to decorate yourself, you could fold it upwards and then turn it over and you'd have a completely blank area to work on. But we're going to fold it away. So I've scored these, so hopefully, having scored them, I should be able to bend them over. Now I'm not going to bend that one, which is the tab. See that? That's the tab. I'm not going to bend that quite as much as I'm going to the others. I'll explain why in a second. The others, make sure they're well bent over, and you will see you are creating the side of the frame there. Finally, this edge here, and you'll see the black lines disappearing because we didn't want it. Finally, I'm just going to do the tabs. Here's the score, like everything else. Tabs on that end. And this is ready for gluing up. I'm going to use Quick Stick. Comes in all brands, I'm sure. Actually not my favourite glue. I use it in the demos because it glues quickly, but it's not the strongest of glues, so if you've got something better, please do use it. So, the bits on here which you're going to need gluing are the tab, little one behind the big one, to make the square there, and the same there. So there are two tabs, and then obviously the long tab to go over this area here. So, knowing what I need to glue, is that. Please be careful, I make a mess with glue, I'm worse than the children. But, down there. So, tab comes up onto there, makes a right angle. That tab comes up, goes onto there, also makes it a right angle, and the whole thing folds over and should go down onto there. Now, I didn't fold it as much because I want it to catch there. Right, after doing the end, I'm now going to do the two sides. Right, and there we have what hopefully is back of the completed frame. What I do like to do is a sort of teeny bit of tape on each of these corners to make sure they stay in and are true. That bit of tape's a bit too big. I say a teeny bit of tape, I do mean a teeny bit of tape. So that's just the width of the tape. Put that on there. It'll keep that corner true. Do the same on all four corners. Obviously, this is going to be the bottom of the frame when it goes on the card. So apart from the fact it'll make the actual area of the tape quite so easy to glue. Will hopefully keep it in place. There is our completed frame. So we'll now use that to build a card with. So now I'd like to show you the card I've made using all these frames. This is it. Shiny there, but never mind. You see I finished it off. I've got a banner, a little banner at the top here, slightly decoupage, and the heart. More decoupage there. I've stuck it on a piece of card, folded, and put an insert sheet into it as well. The decoupage, the banner, the insert sheet, or lots of insert sheets, you'll find those all on the site. As normal, I think what would I have done differently if I was doing this card again, and I think before I stuck the frame onto the card I'd have put some sort of backing paper, maybe a pink one or something, just to make it look complete. I don't think it's bad without, I just think it would look better with. So there is my box frame card, which I'm quite pleased about. I admit the box frame is quite fiddly to make. If you don't want to do all that, we do have some ordinary frames on the site. And here's one I've just put on a piece of card. What I've done is put some double-sided sticky pads just to give it a little bit of depth. I don't know whether you can see that. It doesn't look quite as neat because obviously you can see the gap there and the double-sided sticky pads, but it does give a bit of depth, and it certainly was 10 times quicker to make rather than the box card there. But two good ideas for making cards. I hope you enjoy them.